Real quick, I just want to say that the next useless information video will involve you guys. A few days after I put out this video, I will put a post on my community page asking you to comment your best piece of useless information. If the info you provide is interesting enough, then I will put it in the video and also shout you out in it. But that's all I gotta say. Enjoy the video. When Cold War Zombies first released, the ray gun didn't get a camo when you pack-a-punched it. This was later changed, so now it does. In BO3 Shangri-La, the monkeys will still go after you if you're an idolize. When you pack-a-punch the Wonder Waff in BO1 Derice, it'll get a gold camo on it. I'm really upset this didn't return for other Wonder Weapons. When you pick up a Gobblegum as you're dying, the Gobblegum will change to white. Both the bus and Ted from Transit are originally from Colorado. We know this because of the bus's license plate. In Der Eisendrache, you can ring the bell in the bell tower. At the end of Forsaken's ending cutscene, Richtofen's tie clips to his belt buckle. Additionally, when he's leaving his office, you can see a snow globe on his desk. This is the same snow globe that Samantha uses in the Zombie Chronicles trailer Remember Forever. Which also, the house in this snow globe is Max's house from Revelations. In BO3 Origins, if you end the game while riding the tank, the game over screen will glitch out like crazy. In the Black Ops 3 beta, the KN-44 was originally called the ARC-7, and the LCAR-9 was called the Spider, with a Y. In a previous video, I talked about just how broken the trench gun is on Black Ops 1 Derice. For those who don't know, if someone has the trench gun in co-op, everyone in the game will be able to hear every single shot they fire, no matter how far away you are from them. And it turns out that this same exact glitch also happens with the Locust in Black Ops 4. In Buried, if you activate the Easter egg song while doing the sharpshooter step, it'll delay the sharpshooter song until Always Running is over. Also, when it eventually does start, the song will literally play for the rest of the game. Around the map in Ascension, you can find Matryoshka dolls of the Ultimates crew. You can find Dempsey's near Stamina, Nikolai's near Speed Cola, Richtofen in the bottom floor of the power building, and finally, you can see Takio's doll near PhD Flopper, or Widow's Wand, depending on which version you're playing. Also, when you interact with these dolls, your character will say something about them.
5-5.
How did they get that little person inside?
In Der Eisendrache spawn room, you can find Takio's hands on the guardrail. Outside of Burger Town on Forsaken, you can see Bubby. This isn't the first time we've seen Bubby in a Zombies map, as he was featured 7 years prior in an Exo Zombies map called Infection. And in Infection, when you would beat the main quest, you would be rewarded with Bubby coming to life and beating up the zombies. I know everyone hated Exo Zombies, and it did suck, but can we just acknowledge how cool of an ending this is? This has to come back. The Noir mode Easter egg is glitched on keyboard and mouse. Instead of holding your interact button, you need to hold the reload button to do this on PC. In BO2 Zombies, you can repack certain weapons to get attachments on them. To do this, the game says you need 5,000 points, but you only need 2,000. In Blood of the Dead, if you sword dash the voltage meter near Tonic, you can glitch under the map. If the bus on Transit hits you, you won't take damage from it, but if the tank on Origins hits you, you will instantly die. Well, sometimes anyway, because if you prone in front of the tank with your shield, it won't run you over, it'll just push you around the map with it. This doesn't work on BO3 Origins. In Water Wars campaign, you can find the models for Ultimus. These are just the character models, not the actual characters themselves, so they will be called a different name. In the first mission, Semper Fi, once you take control of the game, you can find Takio here on the ground. In the mission Hard Landing, you fight alongside Private Polinsky, aka Dempsey. It's hard to tell at the beginning of the mission, but once he gets his helmet shot off, it's pretty obvious that this is Dempsey. Right away in the mission Heart of the Reich, you can see Reznov yelling at Private Chernov, which is obviously Nikolai. And last but certainly not least, in the mission Vendetta, you can see General Amsel. It's hard to tell with a sniper, but if you no-clip to him, again, it's pretty obvious that this is none other than Dr. Edward Richtofen. There were two different versions of Origins intro cutscene. Of course, there's a normal one that everyone knows.
It began long ago, on the battlefields of the Great War.
But there's also a version uploaded to Treyarch's YouTube channel with a much scarier narrator.
It began long ago, on the battlefields of the Great War.
This is still Samantha, but it's a much more demonic version of her. They kept this version of Samantha for the announcer in the match for like picking up drops and whatnot, but for some reason they changed her voice in the intro. The orb ability on the Ray Gun Mark III doesn't insta-kill on insta-kill. In the Alpha Omega boss fight, Ultimus Dempsey has a slightly different voice line than what the subtitles say.
I would have been fine with a stripper popping out of a cake, but not this.
I can't believe I went 9 years playing Black Ops 3 without knowing this next piece of information. The lights on the Gubblegum machine flash 115. Of course, being a reference to element 115. How did I never notice this, dude? That's so embarrassing. And the Black Ops 1 campaign mission, Numbers, you can obtain the Thunder Gun. This version of the Thunder Gun can be reloaded whenever you want. When 9 first came out, Zeus's step was glitched. To do it on launch, you first had to shoot the 4 rods up that were underground and then run up to the challenge podium and spawn, and interact with the pillar here to be teleported underground. A couple weeks after this map came out, Treyarch fixed the steps, so now what you have to do is you interact with the podium to be teleported underground, and then you have to shoot up the metal rods. In BO1 Zombies, if you shoot 1 bullet out of your reserve, then spam your shoot and interact buttons, you can spam buy ammo. If you're enjoying the video so far, make sure you drop a like. If we hit 1,500 likes on this video, I will come back with another useless information video. In the last video, I talked about the Black Ops 4 Super Easter Egg rooms, but I forgot to mention that on launch, you could abuse the No Orbit There elixir to get in these rooms. Unfortunately, this is patched. In Black Ops 3 Origins, if you run into the left corner of the stamina machine, the zombies won't be able to find you. The Hellion in BO4 is barely stronger than the zombies' health cap. We know this because the zombies in normal mode stop gaining health at round 35, but in hardcore mode they never stop gaining health, and the Hellion falls off in the late 30s. So if BO4's zombie mechanics were like BO3's, then the Hellion wouldn't be the god tier weapon that everyone thinks it is. In Buried, if you give Leroy booze, you can make him charge off the map. In BO2 Origins, you can dig up the claymores. It's pretty rare to get this though. Factions. Does that word ring a bell? Sorry if I just gave all the BO4 fans PTSD, but if you don't know what I'm talking about, factions were supposed to be a feature in BO4 Zombies. Factions were going to be 4 teams that you could join to battle the other teams for certain rewards. The 4 factions were called Bloodfaith, Tempest Novi, Dustborn, and the First Legion. This was first announced at Comic-Con in 2018, and it was supposed to be in the game at launch, but Treyarch got a little too ambitious with Black Ops 4, so they pushed back factions and waited to release it until they stabilized the game. They were then supposed to add it for the 115 day update on January 15th, 2019, but again, it was pushed back. On March 14, 2019, Treyarch said that they were still planning on releasing Factions, and that they would be releasing it in the next season of content, Operation Spectre Rising. This season of content ran from April 30th to July 16, 2019, and throughout that whole season of content, Treyarch never mentioned Factions. In fact, we never officially heard about Factions from Treyarch ever again, with this statement that they published being the last we ever heard them speak on it. And this wasn't a scam on COD's part either. Factions were supposed to be in the game on launch. We know this because on launch, there was a secret Dark Ops challenge titled All the Factions, which you could unlock by completing all of the factions in Season 1. But on November 5th, 2019, 2 months after Tag Der Toten released, Treyarch quietly changed the Dark Ops to one that was actually obtainable called One of Us, which you got just by unlocking half of the Dark Ops challenges. We don't know for sure why Factions was scrapped, but it's widely speculated that they scrapped Factions both because Zombies players stopped caring about BO4 by this point, and also Treyarch was pulled from BO4 to help Sledgehammer and Raven make COD 2020, which was later titled Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. As many people know, around the map in Blood of the Dead, you can interact with the sparking Afterlife boxes for free shield blasts. But did you know this also works with the Afterlife box near where you grab the Doc's plane part on Mob of the Dead? In Garad Crovey, after you unlock Pack-a-Punch, anytime you do the Groff module lockdowns, you will get drops for it. When Forsaken first came out, you could use PhD Slider to slide around the Dark Ether room. This was so much fun to do, but unfortunately, it was patched. In Der Eisendrache, you can find the skybox for the destroyed moon under the map. When you get the white flash at the end of the Easter egg, the game just flips the skybox, so the normal moon will be under the map and the destroyed moon is now visible. There are some posters for zombie maps where the characters in them are holding weapons that are unobtainable on the map. Let's start with Drak's poster. In it, you can see Dempsey holding the MP41. Not the MP40, but the MP41. Not only is this not in Drak, but I'm pretty sure that this gun has never been in Call of Duty before. In Call of the Dead's poster, Michael Rooker is seen holding the AK-47, but the AK-47 isn't on Call of the Dead. In fact, the only zombies map pre-Cold War that the AK-47 is on is Mob of the Dead. In the Giants poster, you can see Richtofen using dual-wield Mausers. In Shadows of Evil's poster, both Jackie Vincent and Jessica Rose are using the 1911s, which aren't on Shadows of Evil. And finally, in Blood of the Dead's poster, Dempsey is using the ARC-7, and Richtofen is, again, using a Mauser. In a previous video, I talked about the newspaper Easter egg on Drak, and I recently found out that you can find all 3 of these newspapers in this Easter egg near the dog bowls on BO3 Moon. And finally, when Drak first came out, you could pop Killing Time on the Wonder Sphere to be stuck in the air. This was a lot of fun to do when this map first came out, but unfortunately, this has since been patched. And just real quick, in case anyone from Treyarch's watching, please bring back Killing Time for Black Ops 6. We saw the leaks, Gobblegums are coming back. Just bring back Killing Time, please. Oh, and Quacknarok, that one too. And there was your useless information. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like. If you want to watch the other useless information videos, the link to all of them is on the screen now. Shout out to all of my members, I love each and every one of you. If you want to become a member and get shouted out at the end of my videos, then click the join button down below or the first link in the description. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.